And this comes amidst an ongoing political turmoil in the country. South Korea's acting president, Choi Sang-mok, was only 2 days into office when the plane crash occurred. It's adding to the political crisis that the country is facing. 2 presidents have been impeached within weeks. First, Yoon Suk-yeol, who declared martial law, setting off protests and a constitutional crisis. Then his replacement, Han Duck-soo, who clashed with the opposition Democratic Party, which holds a majority in the National Assembly. On Monday, investigators requested an arrest warrant for former President Yoon after he ignored 3 summonses to appear for questioning. And joining us now to discuss how South Korea is handling the twin crises is John Gong. He's a professor at the University of International Business and Economics and a China Forum expert. John, thanks so much for coming on the show with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
It seems like South Korea can't catch a break, right? Dealing with historic political upheaval at the highest level, and now hit by the deadliest airline disaster on South Korean soil. Now the finance minister has assumed the role of acting president. What impact do you think all of this has on South Korea's economy and its global credibility in the short and midterm?
Well, it's like a bad storming forming right now. This is a very tragic accident, but somehow it adds on top of the not so good track record of Korean Airlines in the past. I mean, there have been several deadly fatal accidents in the past, and so all of a sudden this becomes a political issue. I think if you look at the bottom reason of all of this, I think there's a growing public discontent with the political leadership in South Korea, starting from essentially this martial law thing, which essentially is a coup d'état in my view, and leading up to the current very tragic event. So I think the public level of tolerance is starting to reach a very high level, and things are going very badly. So I think this new president as well as prime minister needs to take drastic actions to address these issues. Otherwise, public trust and for that matter, the democracy in South Korea will be at stake moving forward.
Yeah, and we're just looking at some live pictures as you've been speaking at this crash and just the aftermath. It looks horrific. But its airline stocks, South Korea's, have taken a big hit because of the crash. But there is also this general unease among Kospi investors right now. Are financial regulators, do you think, doing enough to ease that worry?
Yeah, well, I mean, the South Korean economy hasn't been doing so well so far this year, you have these tragic events, and you have the political turmoil. So the bad news come one after another, and the stock market is not doing so well. I think it's going to remain so for some time before market investor confidence starts to come back again. So I think getting to 2025, the Korean economy, the Korean stock markets are going to be under a lot of pressure moving forward. I think, as I said, I think the new leadership in South Korea needs to take some drastic actions to address the very high level of public discontent with the government right now.
Mm-hmm. And to that point, South Korea actually just narrowly avoided a technical recession in the 3rd quarter because GDP edged up ever so slightly by 1/10%. Do you think the economy holds up in the 4th quarter, given all of the turmoil we're seeing going on right now?
No, it's not going to perform very well. I think that's hardly any growth at all. I mean, it's a very anemic economy right now, look at all indicators, look at the news. I don't think the 4th quarter of this year will have any good news at all. I think it's going to be remain so in a sort of a very anemic growth, if any growth at all. As I said, I think the Korean economy it needs some time to recover. It's not just an economic issue, it's also very much a political issue.
Particularly the consumers as well need time to recover because the won has really weakened against a greenback. It makes it so expensive to import goods and energy, which is something South Korea is heavily dependent on. So what's that doing to overall prices and then consumption?
Yeah, well, I mean, Korean economy is actually, it's a not very large economy. So, and it's also a very much a exports dependent economy. So it's very much dependent upon its performance in the export sector. So if the world economy is not doing so well, it just percolates down to every folks' daily life in South Korea. Right now, I think Korean companies. I give an example of the electric car business. I think Hyundai and Kia are still trying to catch up with the electrification wave in the auto industry. I mean, the auto industry contributes immensely to the Korean economy. It's a major export sector, and this is under very much stress right now, especially I think in markets in Southeast Asia, as well as in Europe, actually.
Yeah, and then how do you think potential Trump tariffs affect trade? Because currently the U.S. is listed as South Korea's second largest trade partner, according to the World Bank.
Yeah, well, I think with the new President Donald Trump coming to power, he's going to demand payment. He explicitly said, I heard that he's asking for, $100 billion from South Korea, which may be true, which may not be true. I don't know. But essentially, President Trump is asking for some kind of a payment for American troops stationed in South Korea. He has this logic that in any countries where American troops are stationed needs to pay United States for these costs, and I think that adds a further a big component on the cost of the government, and who knows what's going to happen to the Korean economy. I would expect that the South Korean economy is going to remain so for some time.
Yeah, we'll have to see how those tariffs pan out. Apart from those tariffs, what other headwinds do you foresee for the South Korean economy in 2025?
Yeah, I see the global markets as the biggest challenge. With the war still going on, with the anemic demand for export products from the leading export powerhouses in the world, with the changing technologies in the high-end products, it's a huge challenge for the Korean export sector. But let me also point out that the Korean people are very resilient, and Korean companies are also very resilient. So I would bet that they're going to adjust and come back strong after some time. Right now, it's just all the bad news are happening at the same time. As I said, it's like a storm forming right now. All the bad things happen more or less at the same time.
Absolutely, and then inflation creeping up as well. We'll have to see what the BOK does about that. All right, thank you so much for your insight and perspective. We will leave it there. John Gong, Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Happy New Year.